Wanted to highlight what we meant by overbought and oversold. Um, every asset has these regions of what we call the overbought regions and oversold regions. When an asset has been overbought, it means the asset is currently not reflecting the very true nature of the price. There's so much money in it, and there has to be correction. In other words, there has to be a point where the price of the asset has to find equilibrium. In other words, the price has been pumped so much so that this is the time to correct the price. And market Cipher also gives you that a pictorial view of an oversold asset. And this can be represented by this line, this 60 line, and where I've highlighted on it. So anytime you see momentum cutting across this line, there's an indication of an overbought territories, and hence price is going to be corrected. Correction means price has to reflect the very true nature of itself. It has been wholly or too much overbought. So there has to be there has to be basically a correction. In other words, price needs to find price pertaining to a given asset has to find an equilibrium. Equilibrium means there has to be a balance in terms of the very price. So we've seen Bitcoin move from $700 to $20,000, meaning price has to find a correction. In other words, it has been so overbought, so price is going to correct. So market Cipher gives you that clear indication. Anytime you're above the 60 line, there's time for a correction. So you realize that there's a red dot here, which is a bearish signal. Then price evidently came down. Momentum, more or less, like is one of the most influential oscillators or wave that affect the very direction of price. So a typical example is anytime you see this cutting across the 60 line, it means price is now settling down because it has been overbought, so it's now finding equilibrium. Same way when we come downwards, it means price has dumped so much though that there has to be a correction upwards. It's like when we realized that Bitcoin moved from 20,000 to 3,000, I think in 2018 or so. That's a clear representation of an oversold. It means we've sold so much of the assets. Now there's a time for correction, so the asset is now gaining steam and heading towards the upwards territories. This is typical in trading. Anytime an asset reaches its peak in terms of oversold or overbought regions, there's always going to be a correction based on where you want the correction to go. If you're buying, it means it's going downwards. If you sell, it means it's going upwards. So oversold territories means price of an asset has been oversold. Hence, there is a need for correction upwards. Overbought territories means price of an asset has been overbought, so there is a need for correction. Coming down, and momentum gives you a clear indication of oversold and overbought territories. Momentum again has different elements as well, which I can highlight in the next video. It has what we call the anchor waves and the trigger waves, and these also affect the very direction of price. Until then, have a nice time. Peace.